Yo, War Rapport family, an emergency meeting here. We are going live reacting to the news. Mike Bobo is out as the offensive coordinator for Auburn University after one season on the Plains. I'm here with my man C Dub, B Will, here reacting live to the news with you all. Listen, man, let's talk about it. What are we feeling about this news right here? I know me and B Will chopped it up a little bit. See, I'll let you start off with kind of what your initial reactions are. Hold on,
Whoa.
wait a minute, wait a minute. Are we gonna do this shirt giveaway?
Why not?
Okay, hashtag get your weight up in the comments. We are giving away a He Gone t-shirt tonight. We giving away a He Gone t-shirt. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments.
That shirt means so
man.
much more now.
Oh man, that is so funny to be. I'm
That
sorry
sh-
for the petty.
This shirt means so much more now.
Oh man.
Man.
This is I'm sorry. Look, Mike Bobo, if you happen to see this, this is not it. We had this shirt before you left, bro.
Yeah, it meant something totally different.
But hashtag get your weight up in the comments. We will give that away here in just a minute. Already 15 entries. All right, see, go for it.
Shocked. You had to call me and tell me because I was in the process of getting my weight up literally because I was about to work out. We felt like some changes had to be made, man. We definitely felt like it since the first half of since the first half of the Ole Miss game. Auburn scored a total of 15 points in all second halves for the remainder of the year. That's enough time to get it to figure it out, as far as I'm concerned. And Harsen understands. He understands the situation. These moves he's been making with the wide receivers coach early in the season and now, it tells me how serious he is about being successful. He understands that this is his shot, and he wants to make good on his shot, and he's not going to let anybody stand in the way of that, which I can definitely respect. I can definitely respect him making that change, and so I'm curious to see where he goes from here. I am curious about the fallout from this, so I am a little mixed on this. I understand that we needed to make some changes from an OC standpoint, but how does this impact recruiting with signing day two weeks out? How does that impact our O-line coach? Because it seemed to me, my understanding is that Will Friend and Bobo are joined at the hip. So if you fired Bobo, what does this mean for Friend, who, for all we know, is a really good recruiter on the O-line? So I don't know where we go from here. I'm curious to see. I'll be surprised if we do hang on to his son. I see some people in the chat saying his son is gone. I'm just curious to see what's the fallout from this in terms of recruits as well as staff.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Drew Bobo did say that he wasn't sure if his dad would even still be here. This was a while. This is before he got fired or got let go or resigned, whatever the official word is on why he's no longer going to be here, and that he was committing to Auburn, not necessarily to play under his dad.
Yeah.
So apparently Drew understood that there was a possibility his dad might not even be here past this season anyway, or might not be here to, by the time he was ready to start playing, his dad may not be here. So I don't know that this necessarily means that he's gone as well. But it is a possibility. B Will, let me just grab this soup. Well, a couple of things here. We got a new member join. Appreciate you very much for jumping in here. Stuart Donald, always good to see you in the chat. Chance we make a run at Mullen. I'll let B Will react to this, and then he'll get in here on potential who's next.
All right. So listen, I'm with C in that this tells us a lot about who Harsen is. Now we have not asked Harsen. We have not had a chance to talk to him and ask him, hey, why did you get the guys that you got when you built your staff? Was it for this reason? Was it for recruiting in the area? Was it for because you really meshed with their idea and their concepts as far as how they wanted to run offense with what you thought? We can put some assumptions together as far as why we got Mike Bobo. Part of that may have been his connection with Will Friend. If Will Friend had good rapport, if he was known as a good offensive line coach, then you get the guy that he wants to be with because he had just gone to South Carolina to coach under Bobo. And then Bobo came here, so Will Friend came here. It was a good deal for us. Our offensive line did get better this year. Maybe not the drastic improvement that we saw from, say, Shedrick, or still very good improvement from Bo. Even though he wasn't perfect, he still improved considerably. So
Yeah.
we have to wonder, with him being out, is it Harsen saying, you know what? I don't care who you brought here. I don't care that your kid is coming here. You blew games for us. I never saw Harsen on the sideline yelling into the headset saying, no, run this, run this, run this. Gus was always busy micromanaging, which was reported and assumed, but I think that kind of bore itself out by how the plays always ended up getting called. Harsen did not seem to do that. He never got high or low on the sideline, maybe a mean mug at a really bad call, but he seemed to let the coaches do their jobs. He saw what the end result was, and then he said, no, that's not good enough. I like that he is taking control and asserting his vision for the program, which includes coaches. Nobody's immune. If he's going to ride, and if he's going to live and die with the results that come from coaching at Auburn, he's going to do it his way.
Yep.
That is admirable. That is necessary, I think, for this job, because this job comes with not only pressure from the fan base and the entire Auburn family all over the country, also from higher up coming down, there's more pressure than there is at other programs. You've got to have the gonads to do what you want to do and live or die by it. So for that reason alone, I am happy to see this.
Yep.
I am disappointed. I can't say disappointed. I have no idea what this means for recruiting. All right. Mike Riley Tucker. I want to make sure I'm saying his name right.
Michael Riley Tucker.
He tweeted out after the news, like kind of a frowny face with a tear on. I'm like, man, so you like Bobo, huh? Dang.
Oh,
I don't know.
Dude could recruit.
Here's the thing. With a new OC means that the new offensive coordinator gets to pick the entirety of the offensive staff, right? Like, it's not just one guy is out, right? Like, whoever this next person is, that means we don't know if Cadillac is coming back. We don't know that Keesaw is coming back. Like, you don't know who's coming back depending upon who this hire is. Like, because that person can be like, well, I've already got my running backs coach that I want to bring in. We have no idea who's coming back.
Unless
they promote somebody who's already there.
There you go.
Right.
So we've got a couple of reports out here. Bodie Reeder, who was brought on as the quarterback's coach / analyst, is already on the staff. Keesaw is currently on the staff. If either of those guys is getting a look as the new offensive coordinator, then we could retain a lot of people and then just backfill whoever they elevated from. If it's the analyst, right, Bodie Reeder, who's a former offensive coordinator, then they just need to get another analyst. That's not as big a deal. Right. But if it is, a Kendall Briles or a Dan Mullen, that could be a completely new staff overhaul that we're talking about. And then what's the backlash? Like you said, what's the fallout of what happens with recruiting there? What recruits who are already committed to Auburn say, hey, my guy's not on that staff anymore. I'm not going there anymore. The main person who recruited me is no longer there. Right. Or people who are currently on the team who liked the direction. I don't know why you liked the direction the offense was going. Decide they don't want to be here any longer. Like, if it is a Dan Mullen gets hired, he gets rid of Cadillac, does Tank say, hey, listen, Caddy was my guy, I'm out of here, right? Tank was already reportedly, fans speculate Tank was not happy based upon what happened in the South Carolina game, right?
And this may be a fix for some of those gripes from Tank, from a lot of the fan base. Hey, man, look, this guy's calling passes. And I'm that dude, and I've been eating the whole game. What's going on? I'll handle it. Calm down. Bobo, you out of here.
This shakes up a lot of our current players' future as well. Right. Players who were wondering, am I fit for this offense? Am I fit for what they're trying to do moving forward? If you had a foot out the door or was considering, this should change that. This should make you hit the pause button and see what has Harsen got up his sleeve, what's about to happen. So
yeah, absolutely. Jamie, appreciate you coming on board as a member of the War Rapport. Lawrence, I don't think Chad Morris has a shot at this, but I understand your frustration there. Our guy Jazzy Joe jumps in here. Me for the OC, that's right. Man, No, I'm not ready for this headache whatsoever. I would be a terrible offensive coordinator, but you could put me on as an analyst now. Listen, I'll go in here and analyze your film and tell you what the weaknesses are. I could do that all day. Hey, Brian
That's
Harsin.
actually a good fit for you. I like analysts.
And then you come back and give us the scoop. You know what I'm saying? Give us
You know,
the
I got
scoop.
y'all. I
What's
got
going on?
y'all. Bryson Bridges says it ain't even gotta be Ike. Let the minds of the War Report come together to make a super OC.
Oh, like Voltron.
The only thing that I would be responsible for is saying when to sit the quarterback. Hey, enough. Get him out of here. That's the only thing I want to be able to do.
Let's jump in here and get a couple more fan reactions. There's a lot of this coming in here. Yeah, we a lot of you all were on top of this. I'm surprised Kenneth wasn't the first person to jump in here and say I never liked him in the first place.
For real.
As we already said, if you are late to the stream, get your weight up in the comments. Yes, we did limit it to just members. I'm sorry. Special stuff like this, we got to make sure the people who are paying money get special attention. So I apologize if you're watching this and you're not a member. If you are not a member, though, you could definitely remedy that. Listen, supporter level, insider level, doesn't matter. $3.99 or $5.99. You can come on board as a member of the War Rapport. You get to jump on live streams like this. Even during, the season's over with. We've only got a bowl game left, but there's still news breaking. And when it happens, we're going to be here to help you guys talk about it. If you want to become a member of the War Report, hit that join button. If you're on an iPhone, then you have to do that from your browser in desktop mode or go to a laptop. Sorry, iPhone doesn't let you do it directly from the app. At any rate, we are here reacting to the news. Mike Bobo out as offensive coordinator, seeing what the shakeout is going to be in regards to that. Got a thought here from Doug Easom, who says, what about Jeff Lebby from Ole Miss, if we could get him? The Ole Miss offense definitely is prolific. The question is how much of that is due to the head coach and how much of that is due to the OC. I don't know the answer to that question. There's definitely a lot of Bodie readers, a lot of key saws in here.
And that
The
makes
question,
sense.
the question is though, still like how much of is Harsen's hire is he going to hire the new guy and say, listen, we've already got if you're willing to accept my guy Keesaw, my guy Reader, my guy Caddy, my guy whoever he puts on his you can't fire list, then you can be the next OC. But that's a stipulation of me hiring you as the offensive coordinator. Right. Then that's interesting. Somebody says Brian Kelly at LSU. Brian Kelly to LSU. What did that just happen?
Interesting.
That happened like an hour ago. Yeah.
What?
I know.
I've been out the loop.
Be on Twitter, man. Twitter gets it first.
So Brian Kelly, the Notre Dame Brian Kelly, is now at LSU.
Yes. Yeah. He could potentially get picked to go to a playoff. Potentially. That's possible in the next 7 days. But he has signed on to be the head coach at LSU. I don't know what else you can get if you're Notre Dame's head coach. You're in the playoff every other year. What else you're not. Man?
But listen, the thing about it is you can't lose a game at Notre Dame and still make it to the playoff as easily as you could lose a game in the SEC and still make it to the playoff.
But you also won't have to play an SEC championship game.
That's true. I mean, and you don't have the gauntlet of having to run through the SEC West. He should have taken a job. He should have taken the Florida job, or something like somewhere on the somewhere. But I don't know about that one.
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out how good of a coach he really is.
Yeah,
though.
yeah. I agree with this. Mason might have saved his job Saturday. Because if people were on the chopping block, listen, man, if people are on the chopping block and he's like, I'm just going to ride with my guys, the defensive effort they put up Saturday might have just moved his name out of consideration from that. It's a lot harder to fire. It's a lot harder to fire Derek Mason today than it was last Friday.
But all things considered,
not in my mind.
Right, and I get that. But for anybody who was still calling for Mason's job before Bama, I still have to say, the offense failed the team much more than the defense failed.
I agree with you.
A lot of fans don't agree with that.
You basically have two halves out of this whole season where the defense just disappeared. Right?
First half, Georgia State, second half, Mississippi State. That's it. Every other game, the defense kept it within reach.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, to me, that's pretty much. If you're not Georgia or some of these other that's pretty acceptable as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, I think he's good. I think he's good.
Another new member on board, X. Thank you so much for coming on.
X-Bird X.
Hey, Bert.
Yeah. This is more so Mike G's boy than it is B Will's boy.
Yeah.
Mike G is not
Yeah.
like Brian Kelly
He
at
hates
all.
him. Mike having
Mike G,
been a film
Mike doesn't like a
guy
lot of people,
for
though.
college.
Yeah,
He was a
but he
film guy
really
in college,
doesn't
and
like
then
Brian
Brian Kelly put the guy up in the tower to do the film during a windstorm or whatever it was, and got the guy killed. So he really, really, really does not like Brian Kelly, and I understand that. I mean, that could have been him if Brian Kelly was his coach. Mike G might be dead. So yeah, I understand.
I get
Anthony
it.
Grant says he heard that Urban Meyer called Notre Dame his dream job before.
Oh, absolutely. He's going. That makes more sense than him to USC. He would only go somewhere where he could have the bed already made, plenty of boosters, big money, big support, traditional football power. Notre Dame fits that bill. USC did too, but Lincoln Riley to USC, I'm not going to lie, that makes a lot of sense. He looks like a California guy a lot more than Urban Meyer does. So, yeah, I think Notre Dame actually fits for Urban.
Because he
So-
definitely ain't going to last at Jacksonville. Go ahead, Ike.
Let's pivot the conversation just a tad bit. Same kind of general area, but let's talk about the other news that's been ruminating out here.
You
in
mean
regard
this
to
question?
Yes. This is the question of the day. That prior to this was the thing that was cycling through the Auburn Twitter sphere and social media platforms is, does Bo Nix return to Auburn? People were saying, oh, this is a crazy question. Why would you say? We heard, let's be clear. I told you guys I don't major in rumors, right? But now that Bo has said it out of his own mouth on 2 occasions that he's not sure what he will do next year, let me just say, I have had sources for weeks telling me that the Nix family was contemplating Bo not coming back to Auburn next year. And that's not just, I'm going to go to the NFL draft. They were contemplating the prospects of Bo Nix transferring from Auburn University. He was already going to be graduating this year as a junior, so he was just going to be a grad transfer for someone else. In his mind, his duty to Auburn was done. He got his Auburn degree, so he's an Auburn man for life, and he was going to go finish his playing career, whether it was going to the NFL if he hadn't gotten hurt and he could finish out strong, or transferring to another school that he felt like was going to get him prepared to go to the NFL. That was a prospect prior to him getting hurt, prior to all of this stuff happening with the offensive coordinator. I don't know how much this changes his mind with having a new OC in here, right?
Same.
Like, I don't know if this makes him say, okay, well, maybe I'll give it another shot. But what I do know is that this has been on the table for a minute. So let's get you guys' thoughts and reactions to the idea that Bo Nix may not be returning to the Plains.
You go, B.
Okay, so look. We've watched film on every game that Bo has played this year. He does not have the resume on tape to go to the NFL. He did not have the resume on tape to go to the NFL if he was healthy. With the bad games that he has played are very bad. One of them came in the month of November against a quality defense on the road. If you're an NFL scout, dude, that's half your games. It's not like in college where you can play 4 games and maybe 2 of them are going to be against really good defenses. The NFL is just another monster. I don't think scouts are going to see his performance at A&M, the meltdown and fumbling the ball without anybody touching you. He's done some good things on tape. He has progressed. And I'm not sure if that's Bobo or Harsen responsible for that. Bo Nix got better. He did not become an NFL caliber quarterback over the course of the 2021 season. That's first. Second thing is, he's hurt. He is injured. Now, maybe you say, oh, well, somebody could pick up a quarterback in the 6th round and make him a project and sit him. It's like, sure, that's possible. But there are already plenty of guys that are going to do that. Do you think Bo Nix and the Nix family want him to just go and get that guaranteed $500,000 to sit for a year? What you need to go to the NFL, and Jarvis McIntyre, who has come on building rapport with us, he's tweeted this out because we follow him because he's a friend of the show. You need to get on tape. You need to play. If you have to take a step down to play, you go down, you get on tape, and you have film to show.
That's
NFL
what Malik Willis did.
Malik Willis. Now, he could have rolled it out and let Bo ride in front of him, and every scout would have said, maybe. He would have maybe gone to the combine and showed well, but it doesn't matter that the competition is lower. Everybody around him is on par with everybody that he's playing, and he's standing out. And that has done wonders. He's projected as a top 10 quarterback. A top 10 player, as one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the draft. You got to get on tape. So that's why Bo going to the NFL doesn't make any sense. Now, he left it wide open. He didn't say, I'm going to transfer. He said, I'm exploring all options. Mm-hmm. The only option for Bo would be to go somewhere and play in college.
Liberty?
That's it. It's got to be. Now, does getting rid of Bobo satisfy Bo, Nix, and family? I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know what all the reasonings were. The only thing that I heard is they were tired of him getting all the criticism, and they felt like the backlash was because he was a Nix, right? Like they're like, well, he's not going to be able to get a fair shake because he's a Nix at Auburn,
which is insane because you got
fair
the
shake
job.
In what?
From the fans. The fan base were always just going to be like, the only reason he's continuing to play is because his last name is Nix. So it's like, if we remove that as a stipulation and he goes somewhere and he wins it on his own merit, then maybe he gets a fair shot from the fan base that it's not Patrick Nix pulling strings somewhere. My son can actually just ball better than anybody else playing the QB position at this school, right?
Yeah.
And that's that's a fair thought. I don't think that that's unfair. The where I thought it was weird was they were saying, I don't like the criticism. And it's like, you're going to get criticized wherever you go playing starting quarterback. If you go out there and you screw up a game, I don't care what school it is, how bad that school is before you got there, how great that school is before you got there. You go to the NFL. If you step foot out there as the quarterback, be ready to be criticized. So if it's just because I feel like he gets criticized too much, good luck. But if it's because the Knicks name just gives too much additional stuff to this, I understand that, because that name doesn't have the same kind of whatever outside of Auburn University.
But beyond that, whether Bo leaves or he stays, of the past 3 years, Bo has been in control of all of that based on his play on the field.
100%.
That's the biggest factor in all of this.
Nobody would care what his last name was if he was out there balling.
If he was out there balling, there would be a lot more praise than the mixed reactions from fans. So that's on Bo. And granted, we talked about it. He is the byproduct of poor coaching,
and we gave him that.
We acknowledge he that was a big part of it. Now you appear to be getting some good coaching, and your play. Well, look at that. Your play improved. Right.
Yeah, I 100% believe that if Bo Nix was coached by someone else starting year one, he'd be ready to go to the league right now.
Now, yes. If he had come into a system like this year one, probably given a year to sit, and then come in as a sophomore, play 2 years, I think that junior year of him having played a second year under the right system and the right coaching, he probably looks every bit of the quarterback that we thought we were getting when we saw 5 stars in the high school championships. Yes, he needed time. Now, where he is, I don't want to say at fault, but where he and the family, it will boggle my mind if they really thought this is too much criticism, is, like you said, he is in control of his play. We've seen bad habits from Bo. Did you think because Auburn is home and his dad, this is where he played quarterback, that you weren't going to get criticized for playing poorly? Do you recognize and acknowledge that he has played poorly, or do you all have blinders on and you just maybe they thought being here would insulate him from the heat that every major program college quarterback is going to get? You play poorly. Jalen Hurts was the starting quarterback at Alabama in 2016. They lost to us in 2017. They were calling for Jalen's job that year before they lost the national championship game. He had never lost a game. They were calling for his job. The next year, when he lost to us in the Iron Bowl 2017, all of us know, if you live in the state of Alabama, you got Bama friends and family. They were calling for this man's job again. They were not excited at the prospect of going into the playoffs.
It was before then, B. I knew a few Bama fans who was yelling for Tua even before he got to the Iron Bowl.
I see. We have seen people call for Bryce Young's job when he is the only consistently good thing about the Alabama offense. Nobody is immune from criticism.
Right.
That is
Right.
I'm trying to find the words because I don't want to be disrespectful. I think it's mighty smug and a very overinflated sense of self for whichever member of that family feels like you can play poorly, but nobody should criticize you, point out your faults and how you played on the field. We're not making personal attacks at this guy. We want him to be great so our team can be great. If you can't take the heat, dude, goodbye. Farewell to you. We don't need that.
And
back.
those are the facts.
Yeah. Fair question here from Jazzy Joe. If Bo goes, does Dede have the green light? Asking everyone in here.
Yes, absolutely.
I like
so.
I like his chances now. I'll just put it to you that way. I didn't like them before. I just didn't like them under the current OC. So I was curious about Davis's future, provided that Bobo remains the OC. Now that he's out the picture, I like his chances.
I mean, we still got to see who's coming up next. Appreciate you, James Glenn, for coming on board as a member here. Got a couple of more here. Jazzy Joe again. Do y'all think we hire soon or wait? I think you got to get this out of the way, right? Like you got to try. Like, so here's the thing. If this is a firing, right? Because there's mixed reports as to whether or not he stepped down or there was an amicable split of ways where they just decided, hey, we're going to go in this direction. You're going to go in this direction. It's one of those, we both decide this isn't a good fit type of thing. Whatever it is, do you fire him without already having in your mind who the next person is, knowing that it's crucial that we lock in recruits right now?
Right. And that's so I want to jump in here because this is me speculating about college football in general, not the Auburn job or any Auburn jobs. Most arrangements when players leave teams and go to other teams, they've already talked to players at their new team. They've already said, hey, man, talk to your position coach. Get him to call my mom. I need to know what y'all got going on there. Am I going to see the field? They do that leg work before they put their name in the portal at their current school. We're going to get some guys out of the transfer portal in the next 2 weeks that already know they're going to come here, and they might not even be in the portal yet. The same thing happens with coaches. You saw Lincoln Riley. He made a statement that said, oh, well, Sunday night, morning, I woke up and they had contact. Man, stop. USC had called your agent 2 months ago, and you was waiting for the season to wrap. Don't even play us like that. We ain't stupid. So when it comes to what coaches are doing right now,
because he was very intentional when they asked about the LSU job, saying he's not going to LSU. He didn't say I'm staying at Oklahoma. He said I'm not going to LSU.
Because he already knew I'm going to USC, but y'all ain't asked me that. Y'all ain't asked me about USC. So what this becomes then is who all is talking to who. You don't make that move without knowing that it's going to benefit you. As much as Harsen might be like, you're not my guy, you're not getting it done, you've got a lot of people to please. So you're going to go to your number one running back or at least hear him out, or his mom or whoever is talking to the coach from these players, because you can't get it done without the dudes. All right? You're going to say, hey, we know you weren't happy with the play calling. We're going to make some changes around here. Or Caddy's going to say, hey, man, before you make any moves, let's just see what happens in the next week. Then they make a move, and it's got to be pleasing to the guys that you already got committed, to the guys that haven't committed yet that you're trying to get, to the guys that are here and you're hoping to retain. They have not made this move without some serious consideration on all those fronts. So, whoever is next, he has chosen that person at the very least since the end of that game. I don't think this was not a today thing, maybe even sooner. And that means he did not let Bobo go without knowing who the next OC was going to be already. I believe that 100%.
Listen, and this guy's been coaching for years. This guy's had plenty of OCs. This guy knows and then he has a lot of guys that he hired on his staff already as analysts, people who could be OCs elsewhere, who've been OCs elsewhere. He knew who he wanted to get before he pulled this trigger, to your point, B. So I fully agree with that he already had his guy lined up. And I expect it to be a lot like what happened with the D-line hire. when we hired Eason, like days later. Like Harsen already knew someone that he had, and it wasn't days later until we signed Eason. So I think it'll be a similar situation like that.
Interesting thought here from Walt. I've seen a couple of people mention this name, Kellen Moore, on a 1-year contract with the Cowboys for $72K, which is
serious?
crazy.
That cannot be.
If Kellen, listen, if Mike Bobo was getting paid more.
I'm not saying you're a liar, Walt. You're a good man. I know you're telling the truth. I'm just in denial.
If Mike Bobo was getting paid more per year to be the offensive coordinator at Auburn University than Kellen Moore currently is being paid to be the offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, that feels like a home run hire. Because Kellen Moore is a decent OC.
This man makes $72,000.
Wow.
That's real?
Oh my God!
Why is he? Why is he coaching the Dallas Cowboys for? Stop this.
That has to be a typo. That has to be a typo.
That's wild.
That has to be a typo.
Caleb Logan, appreciate you coming on board as a member here. This is all interesting, man. So Auburn Dad makes a good point here. December 15th is the early signing period, right? So if you want to lock up some of these guys who are questionable, that are, maybe on the fence here, we've got to know what the situation is with the offensive coordinator and the remainder of who's on that staff. It's going to be interesting to see what the fallout is tomorrow with the people who hit the transfer portal, because it's reported that a lot of people are making their announcements tomorrow. I saw somebody mention earlier here in the chat, it's just a lot of stuff is coming here. That it'd be interesting to see, now that Mike Bobo is gone, who starts at quarterback for the bowl game if TJ Finley is hurt. If TJ Finley can't go, and now Mike Bobo's not the guy calling the situation, who do we start at quarterback during the bowl game? So any thoughts on that?
I mean, I would have hoped.
I'm hoping it's Finley. I'm hoping Finley is okay.
I want Dede. I want Dede because, okay, so it really comes down to who makes the decision on whether or not to give Dede a shot at the backup job once Bo goes down. Was that Harsen saying, we started the year with a plan, we got an emergency in break glass in case of emergency, we got a guy who's been getting number 2 reps all season, Dede, just hang back. We said next year would be your year, so still just wait until next year. The plan didn't change once Bo went down. Dede still didn't get a shot to even be in the rotation.
Yeah.
Does this changes a lot though?
He should definitely be in the rotation at the very least.
Listen,
at the very least.
Dede is starting the bowl game if
at the
Finley's hurt.
very least.
Risk No Rewards comments and says they're going to go after Dan Mullen. I don't know that this would be a popular choice amongst the Auburn fan base. There are a lot of people who
don't like Dan. I mean,
there's a lot of people who haven't forgiven him for starting the whole Scam Newton stuff, right? They feel like Mullen trumped all of this stuff up.
He's dead. Mullen is dead to a lot of members of our fan base, and I get it. I get it.
I think how he handled Florida in the last couple of months, I think that probably takes him out of consideration because he got paid. He got paid to get fired, man.
I think you take him as an OC. A head coach, I think he's hurt himself a little bit. I think he's hurt himself.
He could still get a head coaching job somewhere, but it wouldn't be another SEC school anytime soon. Gina, appreciate the super chat. I don't know if there was going to be something attached to this. If you got another comment you want to throw in there, we'll try to catch that in there. Appreciate the super chat though. It's going to be interesting. Auburn Dad thinks that Dan Mullen's going to the NFL, not coming to Auburn. Don't want him. He is cancerous, and wife likes the player. Likes the players too much. I don't know nothing about Dan Mullen's wife and players, cause listen. This definitely ain't the place for him to come in.
Right.
Yeah, and somebody said I don't think it matches what Harsen wants to do on offense anyway. Yeah, I agree with you, William. I don't think that's necessarily what Harsen wants.
The offensive coordinator at Arizona State was Harsen's offensive coordinator at Boise at one point.
Arizona or Arizona State? Because I saw some people saying
Arizona State. Okay. Arizona State. Zach Hill is his name.
Okay.
So that's why they're mentioning his name, because he did work with Harsen. Again, Harsen's got some options. I heard Zach Hill's name being mentioned when Harsen got here.
Okay.
So
Jazzy Joe says we are probably playing Texas Tech in the bowl. Start DD against that. Listen, that's be a good warm up. It's not like they're a defensive powerhouse out there.
I'm curious to see if we're going to see some other new faces on the offense too. We had the receiver kid that we heard good things about, but he never saw the light of day. Dawson. Like I want to see quite a few people get some looks in this bowl game. So
okay, so we got Nick correction out here. Kellen is making $2 million, signed an extension. That's still not a huge pay cut, though. I mean, if they were going to put a $1 million, I mean, it's an $800,000 per year pay cut. I'm saying not a huge pay cut, as if I was making $800 million. I mean, $800,000 a year. I would be like, no, cuz I'm not taking that much money. It's almost a half of what he's got.
Yeah, I don't think Kellen Moore leaves Dallas. Honestly, you're in a better position.
He's where you
much
wanna
more
be.
high profile job, successful. You know, if you're gonna be piloting an offense.
If he was only making $72K though, that would be I'd be like, yeah. So somebody come get me, because this ain't it, bruh.
somebody out of the NFL would have snatched you up.
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, very interesting, man. Very interesting to think about.
People mention
this.
Jeff Grimes.
Where's he coaching at?
He's the OC at Baylor, I think. I think he's the OC at Baylor. I know people liked him a lot when he was the offensive line coach here in Chiswick, and he appeared. I know he was at BYU a few years back, and he was making a name for himself. I think he joined Baylor staff, if I'm not mistaken. I just don't know what connection he has to Harsen. So I don't even know if Harsen is even looking at that direct. At this point, Harsen is going with people that he knows and has worked with and is comfortable with.
This is very true, Lawrence. Jason Garrett is definitely available right now. I don't know how many people actually want Jason Garrett. I mean, I get that he's a former NFL guy, but he didn't really have a ton of success in the NFL. Johnny B, appreciate the super chat. Harsen is going to be gone. Inside info. He doesn't like Auburn. He's unhappy here. He'll be gone this year. I don't know if I believe that, Johnny B, because I have inside info that says otherwise. But listen,
we all know a guy, right?
We all have sources that say things. So I don't know about that one. I mean, I do know that he was having a hard time, but I don't know that he necessarily is ready to leave just yet.
Yeah. If anything, if I had to bet from the moves that are being made, I would say he's actually doubling down and prepared to make it exactly what he wants it to be, so he can be comfortable and happy going forward.
Yeah. A lot of people are mentioning Dale McGee here in the chat.
Yeah. He's never been an OC though, has he?
That's a good question. When he was at, I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I'd have to go look it up. I definitely am not doing that right now.
See this from Chris K. He said, "Do we think anybody else is on the chopping block?" Will Friend, Cadillac. I don't think Cadillac's on the chopping block for a couple reasons. Number one, he's Auburn. Number two, he recruits really good running backs so far. Number three, the running back play hadn't been a problem.
Right.
So I don't think Cadillac has failed in any aspect of his job, whether it's coaching running backs or recruiting running backs. So, and the fact that he is an Auburn guy, I don't think he's going anywhere unless he wants to go. If there is a assistant OC job somewhere and he wants it, if there's a running back coach job in the pros and he wants it, maybe. But other than that, I don't think so. Will Friend is the interesting one, honestly.
Yeah, just because of the relationship between him and Bobo, it's interesting whether or not, like, Will Friend is under contract though, right? So he'd have to, like,
all of them are under contract,
right? That's what I'm saying. Like, it's they'd have to fire him as well. It's not like Will Friend could be like, "Oh, you let Bobo go, I'm out." Like, he can't just leave. He's under contract. So the new OC would have to get rid of him and not want him on the staff. I agree with what Walt says here. He wouldn't fire Bobo if he was out. Like, I just don't know why you fire the offensive coordinator and then bow out after that. Johnny B says, "I hope you're right." I mean, listen, I just, from what I've been hearing, he is committed to be here at Auburn, and he came here for a purpose, and he has not accomplished that purpose yet. So he is not ready to get out of here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Now, listen, this is 100% correct. Albie Tiger 70 says we need a line for the running backs. We definitely need to figure out, and that's the interesting thing with Will Friend, right? Like, he's the offensive line coach. Has the offensive line progressed under Will Friend? Maybe not. Maybe it's a talent situation. So maybe Will Friend can get that talent in here, and then we can
Kinda
start
mixed.
to see improvement. But the question is, whether or not, I think for the first time, the offensive line that we had with all that seniority on it was being required to do things that they had never done before. So it was a difficult thing for them to figure out how to do those things. And again, they were undersized. They were, recruited to play this up tempo, Gus Malzahn pace and space offense, right? That doesn't necessarily fit the 3 yards in a cloud of dust that Mike Bobo wanted to do. So it is going to be interesting to see, number one, what direction we decide to take as an offensive philosophy under Brian Harsen, being more multiple as we thought we would be. Or, this actually makes me a little upset. All the prep work I was doing on what the Auburn offense had done this year. Now we don't have the first clue what it's going to be. Now I have to go find tape on who the new OC is. But yeah, we'll see what direction we decide to take with that. Jazzy Joe says that would be crazy if Harsen fires someone then leaves. That would be hilarious. Special team coach needs to go. I mean, maybe the special team, the special teams coach was just there though because what he normally coaches. Like, I think Harsen wanted him on the staff.
Burt Watts was a special teams coach.
Right.
He was coaching like the
outside linebackers.
Yeah, he was coaching those guys. So I mean, you can just reassign that to somebody else if you want to. He doesn't have to. You don't have to fire him. Just reassign it to somebody else. So.
Risk No Reward asked this question about Bobo's son and all the Auburn high school players. We addressed Bobo's son a little bit earlier in talking about he was saying before this that he was committed to Auburn, not necessarily to playing for his dad. We don't know how that changes. Things change over time. But the initial thoughts from most people are that Drew Bobo is going to remain. The Auburn high school players that had relationships with Mike Bobo yet to be seen, right? We don't actually know yet, but we will see tomorrow more than likely. I Am Hop jumps in here and says, how many players do you expect to hit the transfer portal? There is no tell. So, there are names that we can all speculate on, right? But there are some people who we may not have even seen ever, right? Like there were people who hit the transfer portal last year that had never touched the field once, and nobody really knew who they were. We just remember them from signing day one year, and then all of a sudden they're no longer on the team when they've jumped ship to somewhere else. So it's going to be interesting to see. The obvious names out there are going to be wide receivers like Capers and Canyon.
I will be surprised if I don't see Drayshawn Miller's name.
Drayshawn Miller, does he
will
still
be
have a year of
surprised.
eligibility left?
He does. He
So
does.
he's got to go play somewhere, right? So Drayshawn Miller likely is out of here. The question really for me is going to be if there are going to be any quarterbacks that are in that number, right? From all indications from what you're seeing from his social media, it doesn't seem like Demetrius Davis is out of here. He seems to be 100% committed to Auburn University right now. But so that would be the interesting question about what happens. What happens with Bo Nix is really what's going to determine what happens with TJ Finley in my mind. If Bo Nix decides he's gone, TJ will likely stay and try to compete for the starting job. If Bo Nix stays, TJ's out of here.
You know what? I want to grab this right here.
Go ahead.
All right, so guys, we need to talk. We need to talk. Lincoln Riley had put 2 Heisman quarterbacks on the field. Was it back-to-back seasons? Was it Baker and then Kyler?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Baker, then Kyler, then Jalen.
Jalen Hurts. All right. They went to the playoff. I don't know if he was. I think he was a finalist, but he didn't win it.
Hurts was a finalist.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk about how evaluation of quarterbacks works. Maybe not so much of it. That's if you are at a school under a coach who is good at coaching quarterbacks, has quality wide receivers for you to throw to, has very good offensive linemen more often than not. If you're in that system and you get a full year to start, remember, Oklahoma was very mediocre last year. Their defense wasn't good, which is never good, but their offense was always enough to carry the defense game after game after game, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Spencer Rattler being the starter was the first time the offense was not good enough to carry the defense. At a school that favors offense, under a head coach that's great at offense, with skill position that supports great offense. He got a second year, got hype, got NIL deals, got draft hype, and he still didn't play any better and got benched for a true freshman. Now, if somebody who has actually coached multiple Heisman quarterbacks back to back, put his team in the playoffs, let me see, Baker, Kyler, and Jalen, says that this guy is not good enough, what makes you think here with a suspect offensive line, improving but not yet proven wide receivers, that this is the spot for a guy who couldn't get it done when the entire table was set for him? Spencer Rattler is not very good. He thinks he is. And so he thinks that leaving is going to get him something that staying would not. Sometimes the star rating and the hype don't pan out. He's not that good. He's not as good as he was expected to be. So he is going to spend the rest of his college career finding somewhere that he can be the starter and put up some numbers so he can get to the NFL. Maybe, just maybe, Spencer Rattler isn't that good. And if there's anything we learned about our team this year, it's that anything short of an elite quarterback is going to be subject to what's around them in order to produce the best possible offense. Anything short of an elite quarterback, if there's a Deshaun Watson out there, if there's a Bryce Young out there, if there's who else is elite?
Even Sunshine.
Actually, I'm going to disagree with you on Sunshine because I think Clemson just had the table set for him pretty much every year. And the one year that they didn't, they looked the worst. So that's just me on him. But you have to have an elite.
Rattler.
He did. I will give you that. He did.
He's better than Rattler.
It's got to be an elite quarterback. And that's really, we talked about Bo and Finley so much, and we're going through what they can and can't do. But really the question is, whoever's going to be the quarterback, are they elite? Is Bo Nix elite? No. Bo Nix is not elite.
I'll say this, and I won't take it back. I'd take Bo Nix over Spencer Rattler.
Yes, I would take Bo Nix over Spencer Rattler. That would be a downgrade to go from Bo Nix to Spencer Rattler. Why would we want Spencer Rattler? We want an elite quarterback. And if at any time we have seen less than elite, we're like, all right, so this guy isn't getting it. What's behind him? It's not because we ever said definitively TJ Finley is so much better than Bo Nix. No, we have no way of knowing that. And having seen them, son, I don't think that's the case.
Right.
Now show me who else we got, because we have some guys who haven't even seen the field this year. We want to see what we've got, because anything less than elite is not going to get it done here at a place like Georgia. Sure, because everything else around that quarterback position is stacked to the brim. Bama, this is the 1 year everything around that quarterback position wasn't stacked to the brim, but they actually have an elite quarterback, so it's able to mask a bunch of inconsistencies. Here, we have inconsistencies at plenty of positions. If he's not elite, we are going to struggle. If he's elite, we could win 2-3 more games this year. That's completely possible.
Listen, Spencer is a project, all right? If you're gonna, why would you bring in a project when you can just work with Demetrius Davis?
We could have an elite quarterback right now, and everybody wants to jump out the window for people who have not shown well on the D1 level. Big 12 defenses are mediocre, and he can't go to the one place where offense is king, and you can't show up there?
I'm going to work with the guy who I believe has a higher ceiling and more eligibility.
Yeah.
We're good.
All right, let's jump back in here. A couple more super chats. Austin Berryhill, with our best linebacker gone, I hope we can fill their spots there. Yeah, definitely some spots to fill on the defensive side. Best linebacker, best cornerback, most tenured safety, all of those things out the door after this season. William Hallman says McGee never been an OC, only run coordinator, would need a pass coordinator. Reggie jumps in and says Brian Kelly to LSU next season is going to be crazy in the SEC. Agreed with that 100%. Blake Robinson jumps in and says War Eagle fellas, glad to be back from COVID and the vacation where I had sketchy internet with you guys and the TWR family. Coach Brian Harsen is in charge. War Eagle to you as well, sir.
Glad you're feeling better too, Blake, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Definitely missed you here in the chat. Risk No Reward says, why even talking Spencer? Because somebody brought it up. I don't know.
Plenty of people.
It's been brought up a lot. Yeah,
a lot of people on Twitter. Yeah, a lot of people on Twitter have been talking Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, and sending it to us as you guys think we see him in the portal. Yeah, I'm not excited about. I said that in the preseason though. We said that in the preseason. I don't understand why this guy is getting all this hype. He hadn't shown me anything.
We did a show. We did a show over in the offseason during the summer where an article was talking about quarterbacks and they was ranking them in tiers.
Right.
And I think Bo Nix was like tier 5 or something like that, and Spencer Rattler was the lone quarterback in tier 1 by himself.
Yeah.
So people have been loving this guy for a
Spencer
minute.
Rattler and JT Daniels were the two that I was like, I don't know what y'all seeing that I don't, but neither of these guys are super impressive to me that you guys keep trying to hype up. But all right, cool. So we'll see, man. All right, let's see. Let's jump back in here, see if there's any more things out here that we want to discuss. Erica Ratney says O-line recruiting the key to our offensive success. Listen, absolutely. The trenches is how you win football games.
For sure.
You've got to be able to dominate along the offensive line. Michigan doesn't have some elite quarterback. You know what they have? Really good offensive line that went out there and bullied Ohio State for 4 quarters. And they were able to go in there and just impose their will on the other team.
From a recruiting standpoint, to Erica's point, I'm keeping an eye on this Malik Agbo kid because I think we were competing with him with Oklahoma. And now that their coach is at USC, gives him an opportunity to stay on the West Coast. Keep an eye on that one. I'm curious to see how that plays out. So.
Let's see. Risk No Reward says, I'd like to see what Bo will do with another year. It'd be interesting. He was progressing, right? So if it's the right type of system and he comes back and he continues to make the strides he had made in the second half of this season, Bo Nix very well could be an elite quarterback before it's all said and done. I liked what the poise that he had started to develop. So if we're going to do the whole, you can take first half of Georgia State, second half of Mississippi State out of the Mason thing. Let's take out the Texas A&M game and talk about Bo Nix the second half of this season before he got injured. He looked great.
Right.
Let's just be clear. Bo Nix looked great the second half of this season if you remove Texas A&M from that equation, right? Every bit of tape outside of that, you're like, this is the guy that I've been wanting to see. Now, the second half offense didn't look great, but that wasn't because Bo Nix was just out there horrible.
No.
Wide receivers let him down early in the season, right? He had a lot of drops early. He was a little erratic. The Georgia game, he had some bad throws. He steadily made improvements throughout the year in his poise, his footwork, his accuracy, his delivery, his understanding of what the offense needed to do. He still used his athleticism. I think the LSU game woke him up and he was like, okay, I can't just be a guy back here trying to operate from the pocket. I've got legs. Let's use them, right? Post LSU, Bo Nix looked great. One more year of Bo, I think, would actually be amazing with the right offensive mind calling
for
the
Bo.
plays.
He's on schedule. He's on schedule because, and this is why I think it's so weird that they're considering him leaving. Is you did basically what you were supposed to do this year.
Yeah, had he not gotten hurt and he had finished the season well, he could have been on people's draft boards this year.
Like he basically repaired his image in a lot of people's minds in terms of what he can be as a quarterback. Next year is basically your coming out year. You're basically rising up draft boards because you're now on people's radar because they've seen you improve. They've seen more consistency out of you.
Right.
So if he comes back and he gets the right OC in, sky's the limit for him.
Yeah. Definitely, I'll let you jump back in here. Exclusive TV says, I want to see players like Joko Willis and Wesley Steiner in the bowl game. There's a lot of people who have not gotten burned that I want to see play in this bowl game. Very interested to see how some of these young men come in and compete at this level consistently. Steiner has gotten some burn already, and he didn't look great. But, hopefully Owen Papo is back and healthy. So with, Papo playing beside Steiner and maybe a Joko Willis in there, Wooten still in there, able to kind of direct traffic a little bit. Maybe he'll have the opportunity to play a little bit more. It's going to be interesting to see, though, too, and we mentioned this in the last game, how many of those seniors who are going to the league for sure still go to this bowl game because they don't have anything left to prove. Like, what else does McClain need to show you
Right.
from an NFL standpoint? Like, he is that dude. He's a tackling machine. What else does he need to show you? So anyway, B. Will, you were about to, I don't know if you remember your thought, but if you want to jump
Somebody
back in here.
said this, Richard Montgomery, his ceiling is good. He needs to raise his floor.
That's absolutely.
That is the perfect way of stating
Quote
it.
of the
And
night.
with the progress that we've seen in his play this year, it would be such a shame if he had a quarterback that was driving him into the ground, putting him in harm's way. An offensive coordinator that was putting him at risk, or limiting his creative possibilities at the line by not giving him the ability to change the plays. Gus was the OC in the offense he should have been running away from. This one was actually good for him. So to hear that he might transfer simply because I don't like that people don't love me when I play bad, he's cutting off his nose to spite his face, if that's true.
Right.
You got what you needed here. You were being coached very well. Maybe the play calling wasn't great, but the progress in his footwork, putting more touch on balls, shout out to Mike G. Accuracy downfield was improving. Everything was getting better about his game.
Right.
Staying in the pocket to make a throw and absorb a hit. Everything was getting better. Why would you leave as you're getting better? You've got rapport with these receivers now. Everybody's coming back. I mean, Demetrius Robertson ain't coming back, but man, listen, that's fine. We've got guys to come in here.
Right.
Everything that you needed to be a better quarterback and an NFL quarterback was already in pocket here. So if he is leaving only because he doesn't like to get criticized, that is very disappointing. Very disappointing.
Yeah.
Very.
Let's jump in here, grab another super chat here. I'm going to come back to Jazzy Joe's because that's an interesting one. I think Risk Reward says, I don't know why we didn't play 4 tight ends. Listen, there are a lot of questions that I have about how unimaginative this offense was this year with the type of personnel groupings we could have trotted out on the field. You could put some personnel groupings out there that allowed you to be, and I talked about this in the preseason. I thought we were going to do this defensively, and I thought we were going to do this offensively. I thought we were going to be able to play fast and be multiple just by saying, this is how we want to attack this team this week. We have the personnel groupings to be able to do that. If you want to play big boy football, we can do that. We can try out more tight ends, but those tight ends can also spread out and go catch passes. So I don't have to pull people off the sidelines to change what my grouping is going to look like. I can keep the same personnel grouping out there, just put them in a different formation, keep it moving so you can't substitute. I thought we were going to do more of that this year because I feel like we had the personnel to do it. Right. Hopefully, whoever the new offensive coordinator realizes we've got something special here. Let's figure out how to utilize those special talents and skills of people and put them in a position to be great. All right, let's jump in here with the Jazzy Joe wager here. Jazzy Joe says, let's do this. The 3 of y'all make a prediction on the next OC, and if one of you get it right, I'll super chat $200. So Jazzy Joe is putting a bet out there, and he says if one of us gets it right, $200. So we just got to put out a name, and we'll put it down on record. And if it comes to be true, then we'll get that money. I'm going to jump over here real quick, though. Devin Mingarelli, super chat there. Appreciate that very much. If there's a comment here, I'm going to try to grab will Bobo's son decommit. We talked about this a little bit earlier. We don't think he will, but there's no news definitive about whether or not he will decommit. Walt Taylor says, is adding Jazzy Jeff. I say Zach Hill. I'll give you my address for the check soon. So Walt is trying to get in on the wager.
So we've got Keesaw.
You may have taken my answer.
Keesaw, Reader, who are both on staff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right. So the
ASU, son, yeah.
The ASU OC who has some ties to Harsen previously. Is that what we're hearing?
Mm-hmm. He was an OC at Boise before he jumped to Arizona State.
Okay. I think it's going to be one of his guys. I don't think it's going to be a Kendall Browse or the OC at Ole Miss. It's going to be a guy that he knows that he trusts, because I think what he's seen is that there are more challenges than just football challenges in that building, and he wants to have people that have his exact vision and that he can trust to carry out his vision of what the team should be. And I don't think he's going to leave that chance with some guy just SEC regular who's been in the world of the SEC but doesn't do what he wants to do. So I think he's going to go with one of his guys. So if I had to say, it would be one of those three guys. And who was the OC at Boise before he left? The last season he was there. Was that Keesaw? Was he the OC?
I think Esau was the OC.
While you're mulling that over, I'm going to grab a couple more of these super chats here. Lisa Wise, some hearing Dell McGee is on Auburn's OC hot list, running back coach at Georgia. Not sure he would.
He's a
how
great
he would do
recruiter
as an offense coordinator, but he's the best recruiter in the SEC.
He's an amazing recruiter. I give you that, Lisa.
Sir Ike, them tight ends would be awesome. It definitely would be interesting to see them try them out in some kind of different formation. Devin comes back saying hearing Kellen Moore is a dark horse for the OC job. A lot of people saying no Dan Mullen. Yeah, so I don't know. Interesting thoughts out here. All right, you guys ready to put a thought out here about who you think is going to be the next offensive coordinator? You still got time. We ain't going nowhere. I can grab some more chats here.
You do some chats, and then let's do the drawing. And
Okay.
then let's go on record.
Okay, for sure. That sounds good.
We got a picture of the He Gone shirt so they can see what they get.
I don't have it on this thing. Yeah. Y'all know what the shirt looks like, man. If you're new to the channel, we are. Oh, I haven't said this in a while. So if you're just jumping in, not super chat. You can super chat, but chat hashtag get your weight up in the comments. We are giving away a He Gone t-shirt tonight to somebody. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments. Currently, there are 66 people and there are 688 people watching. Some of you probably watching aren't members, so you won't have an opportunity to chat. This is a members only chat tonight. We apologize, but if you are not a member, you definitely can come on board. Right next to the subscribe button, if you are not on an iPhone, there should be a join button on the screen that allows you to join. Supporter level is $3.99 a month. Insider level is $5.99. That allows you to chat in with us live when we are doing things like this. And we will continue to bring you guys breaking news as we hear it coming throughout the off season. But hashtag get your weight up in the comments. We are going to give away a He Gone t-shirt and, pouring one out for the homie Mike Bobo on his departure as the OC for Auburn. He Gone t-shirt in the comments. Hashtag get your weight up. We are up to 90 entries right now. I will give y'all a few more seconds to get in here to get that lovely shirt. Make sure your spelling is correct. Hashtag get your weight up. If you are been a member for a while, you already know what the business is. It's going to look like this. War Damn ATL has the right thing up here. This doesn't mean you won. It's just me showing people what it looks like. Get your weight up is the hashtag in the comments right here. All right. Let's see. We are up to 99. That's enough for me. We will add this thing on in here to the stream. We just hit 100. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's see who's going to get this. When we get done with this, we will give you guys our potential offensive coordinator hires. Auburn Dad for life.
There you go.
That's our guy. Longtime supporter of the channel. Good to see you jump in here and get that. You know what to do, man. Business at thewarrapport.com. We need your address and your shirt size, even though I think you've won something from us before. So if you want to throw it back, then that's fine. But we'll just give it to you because you've been a staunch supporter of the War Rapport. We always appreciate you.
For sure.
And this is a special circumstance, a special session.
Yeah. Gabrielle said he never gone. That's funny.
He's always here.
Facts.
There he is. All right.
You know what to do, sir.
Yeah. Email business@thewarrapport.com. Size and address, even though I think we got your address somewhere. But yeah, definitely an OG Anthony. All right. So who wants the first bite of the apple here as a name we're going to throw out here to take up on the Jazzy Joe wager of, if we get it right, the $200 super chat?
It's tough, man.
You mean to tell me all this time you were spelling it wrong, Jazzy? Is that for real?
He was probably spelling it right, which is wrong for us.
Oh, that's funny.
Hilarious.
Damian Fikes, appreciate you coming on board here as a member.
Greg, don't play with me.
Auburn Dad corrected me. He has not won. He bought his stuff. That's right. We appreciate
We
that.
appreciate that. You need to win.
Yeah, you definitely deserve to get
Let
your
them know,
little free
Auburn
something
Dad.
in.
Let them know what the deal is.
Man, I'm just.
Well, I'm gonna go out here and say that I think it's gonna be Bodie Reader. I'm gonna throw Bodie Reader's name out there as my pick, as the potential one. Appreciate the super chat here.
You stole
Q
mine.
Show 89. So I try to let y'all go first, man. Y'all
You took, yeah. I
appreciate
wasn't,
the super
I'm
chat just
wasn't,
because.
I want, sure, that's a good one. So we need to increase our odds of getting this 200. So
Yeah, you gotta
I'm
say
not going to
somebody
say
else.
Bodie Reader. I'm going to go ahead. I don't think Esau's going to get it. I think he's right where he needs to be, coaching wide receivers. I like him there. I'll go Zach Hill.
Now, who is Zach Hill?
Arizona State's
Arizona
OC.
State's. Yeah.
Okay.
He was a former OC under Harsen at Boise before he went to Arizona State. So
Okay.
But by the way, when he was coaching past jobs, he was at what school is that? EWU. I'm looking at his
Eastern
bio.
Washington.
Eastern Washington. He was putting up some video game numbers.
Oh yeah, they was doing crazy numbers at Eastern Washington for a little while.
So that's not a
Yeah.
bad pick. Like he
Yeah.
has some
And
success in his
clearly he knows what he's doing. That would
He
be
knows
a good
what he's
hire.
doing.
And he's a Harsen guy, right? So unless they fell out for some reason, then he's definitely a good pick. Francis Cart says, "Do you think the other staff openings around the country slows down? Probably. Do folks wait to see what happens at Oklahoma, LSU, Notre Dame, USC before signing at Auburn?" It depends on how big a name they're going for, is what my thought process on that would be. If he's going with a guy that he's got familiarity with, then I think that this is an attractive job to come to the SEC and prove I can put up these numbers anywhere. I don't care what defense you throw at me. Okay, I'll go down there with the big boys and throw my weight around there. I don't think that the LSU job is a better job than this one, right? Like Brian Kelly, I think is going to have his own picks of who he wants, and I don't know that those people would necessarily be in contest for the Auburn job. So I don't know. I again, I think it just depends on who he's going after. All right, so
Brennan Carroll,
Brennan Carroll, who is that?
he coaches at Arizona. People in the chat has mentioned Pete Carroll's son.
Okay. Appreciate you, Michael Parker, for coming on board as a member of the War Rapport.
Someone says
Thomas Sanders says
OU.
to call Mike G and have him put in his pick. We could. Hold on. Is this a deal? Like this happened? Brent Venables is going to Oklahoma?
Maybe that's just speculation. I don't know.
Interesting.
That would I can understand that pick though.
Yeah, they've been off in so long. Go defense.
247 says that Pete Carroll's son is the leader right now for the job. That's where that's coming from.
Okay, so what's his name and where's he at?
Brennan Carroll. Wikipedia says he is the OC for the Arizona Wildcats.
Which Arizona has had decent offenses. So, you know.
Okay.
As far as those other schools kind of taking some wind out of our sails.
Rex apparently not a Mike G fan. Don't give Mike G any extra time. I don't know if that means you want him to go ahead and put his pick in and not get extra time to try to think about it, or go ahead or don't give him any extra airtime. I don't know. I'm gonna take that in the most negative way possible, just so I could take a dig at Mike G and say you don't want him to give him extra
I'm looking
time.
at where they're ranking. Fortunate degree, I had got to 64 and I hadn't seen their name. Auburn is at 64 in total offense.
JG is saying Matt Wells to AU.
That's the Arizona State guy?
Matt Wells is Texas Tech, I think.
Mike G wants Patrick Nix.
You know what? As far as my pick, I'm gonna say Dale just to round it out and get somebody outside of the outside of the what we're expecting. Just to throw like a little curve in there. Even I have no idea, but
I have no idea either.
I like the idea of a ace recruiter on the staff along with somebody who knows the
Matt
footprint.
Wells is was coaching at Texas Tech most recently.
He was a head coach or OC?
Let's look and see. Yeah, head coach at Texas Tech. From South Carolina, went to Utah State, former quarterback. All right.
Interesting.
Yeah, he just got let go at Texas Tech as the head coach.
Well, listen, we know that coaching at Texas Tech does not mean you're bad at what you do, because the last guy seemed to do all right now. So
Spicy Penguin says he's saying that's the name to watch. Matt Wells was Harsen's guest at the Ole Miss game.
What if he's been cooking this up for a month? Huh? Hey, man, listen, if Harsen was plotting on Bobo, he's like, nah, I seen enough. For the last 5 weeks, I got a little more respect for Harsen. Not that I didn't have it.
Try to
already.
get Mike G before we start figuring it out. All right, you gonna call him C?
Yeah.
All right.
You want me to do it on live or just jump off? I can do it on.
Yeah. You can mute yourself and make sure he ain't like on the toilet or nothing crazy. Jeff Lebby from Ole Miss, we've seen that out there.
The only person who honestly I think makes a lot of sense is Kendall Briles. I think he might be the best OC that's an OC that's not a head coach right now.
But will he leave Arkansas is the question.
Okay, we've got more money than Arkansas.
For the right price, yeah.
Yeah, we've got a lot more money than Arkansas. That's going to be what holds them back, is what they've got to pay assistants and what they've got to recruit with.
Lebby is being rumored to Oklahoma. Jason Hazelwood has entered the transfer portal. Is that the wide receiver from Oklahoma?
A lot of them have. I think it is.
That dude is the truth.
Is he?
Yeah, Hazelwood's a baller, bruh. Some exclusive TV said, imagine if Gus comes back to take the job.
Stop. Exclusive TV. Hey, stop it. You stop it right now. Stop. I don't want to do that. Let's not do that. No.
Hey, B.
What's up?
Who did you say?
I said McGee over at Georgia.
Okay.
So we're trying to get Mike G's commentary here. Appreciate you guys jumping in, man. There's a lot of interest in this, clearly. Nate Carroll is Pete Carroll's other son, wide receiver, coaching for Seattle Seahawks.
Mike says Dan Mullen.
Oh, come on, Mike. Read the rumor boards before you make a pick, man. You just
And
talking.
read the room.
Yeah, I booed him. I booed him before I got off the phone. I was like, bruh.
Yeah.
Word spicy? They did just fire Chip Lindsey.
Pat Nix to Troy, family reunion.
You think they give Pat Nix to Troy?
So wait, okay, so let's think about this here. So you're saying that Patrick Nix goes to coach at Troy, and then he brings his son there to Troy to play for him his final year?
But so the only reason I think that makes sense was because
That
you could
would
say,
be
give me the job
interesting.
and I'm bringing Bo Nix.
Yeah, that would be interesting if that was kind of what was.
That's
like
a terrible
floating
reason to
out
hire
there
somebody, but
in Bo Nix.
go off.
I mean, but if that was what was floating around there in their mind, is like, hey, I might be getting a job somewhere. You've done your job for Auburn. Come play for me your final year. You know, I don't know that necessarily means he's gonna play better just because his dad's the coach.
Are you punting on the NFL if you do that?
Well,
I mean, you've got to have
be on tape. He's gonna put a lot of
you've
tape
got
in.
to have an amazing season at Troy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you again. Are you punting on the NFL if you go to Troy?
I don't know. I don't know
Because
that
it ain't like Troy stacked.
I don't know if that's a good decision for his career. Like, I understand you want to help your dad out, but if your goal, which he said his stated goal is to play in the NFL, I don't know if that's the place to do. Yeah.
Go off, though. Do what you got to do. But
He
I
would
don't
ball
know
out
about
in the Sun Belt.
he would ball out, but like he ain't got no talent around him, bro.
Right.
I don't know about that one. Listen, Bo. Listen, bro. Come on.
We want you to do well, Bo. But
Yes, Bo does have 2 years left. People keep saying about the COVID year, but I don't think he wants to play 2 more years of college football. And 2 years at Troy definitely ain't gonna do it for you.
Right.
I am Hop jumps in here, said as far as OC goes, how much control did Harsen have over play calling this year might go a long way in determining who we go after. So to say he didn't have control over play calling, I think is a little different than saying he relinquished that control. He can do what he wants to as the head coach. I think he was letting his coordinators do their job, and he didn't like the job that they were doing. I don't think Brian Harsen wants to be an offensive coordinator. He wants to be a head coach,
right?
Because he could just call plays himself. He doesn't have to hire. He could just hire a pass game coordinator or a quarterback coach and call plays himself. I think he wants to be the CEO of a major college football program and let coordinators do their jobs.
And I think what's important to note here is with the play call, the reason why I know it was Bobo is because some of the complaints we were saying has been consistent with Georgia's fan base. So that's why I know it was Bobo. So I think from hearing and listening to other Boise fans, Harsen likes to let his guys do their job. So I think he continued that here.
This is the actual question. Did he actually pick Bobo? I don't know that he did.
I can't say with confidence that he did.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know that he did. Chris Long, appreciate the super chat here. I don't know if that meant to have something else attached to it. I'll see if I can grab it. Jazzy Joe, I think we hire our wide receiver coach to OC if we get it. What a Jazzy Joe knows War Rapport shirt. I mean, that would my other thought was Keesaw though. Keesaw was going to be my.
I was thinking
Keesaw.
Yeah.
So. Don't be surprised. Rick says if it's one of his guys on staff. That's why. That's why I went with Reader.
I like Bodie Reader. I like Keesaw at receiver though.
Yeah. I Keesaw would have been my other choice, but I liked Bodie Reader as the number one. That's why I went there. So.
You know what? I'm gonna change mine. I'm gonna change mine from Zach Hill to Keesaw.
I'm still gonna say McGee just to cover our bases because we want that $200, Jazzy Joe. Thank you. So,
I mean,
hopefully we get that.
All right. So,
we
got Keesaw, we've got Bodie Reader, we've got Dale McGee, and we got Dan Mullen as our possibilities out there.
Watch us all be wrong.
Right. Watch it be Zach Hill, and we just lost $200 because Caesar couldn't make up his mind. Anyway, who is Bodie Reader? Brandon H. asked. He is currently a offensive analyst. He's a former offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, though. So he was the offensive coordinator at Utah State before coming to Auburn, but he was previously on staff with Harsen at Boise. So.
I'm not really impressed. That's funny. Caesar said that Mike G really meant to say Zach Hill. I should have said that too after he said damn Mullen. I should be like, he meant Zach Hill. Yeah.
That would be interesting. Matt Campbell going to Notre Dame.
That'd be good for him, I think.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
That'd be good for him.
Just his demeanor and personality seem to be a better fit than Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly needs to be
I was very
I'm curious
shocked.
as to how Brian Kelly's going to work at LSU.
I was shocked that Napier didn't get the LSU job, or that LSU didn't go after Napier. I
So
think maybe it was
that's
the
what
other
it
way
was.
around.
It was LSU. LSU was swinging for the fences.
Yeah.
Stuart
Spicy.
Donald jumps in. I've always wondered. Yeah, I'm about to address that. I got it. I've always wondered if Bobo was hired solely because we thought Stockton would come with him. Interesting thought. Spicy though. I just gotta bring Cody Burns.
Don't you dare Don't you dare, Spicy.
Can we put certain commenters in timeout?
We can actually.
We know you're a kid, Spicy.
We know you kidding, Spicy, but
Carter jumps in and says, "Do you think we get a 5-star to commit?" I do think that will happen, but
honestly, you know what? I'm not. I've been thinking about this since I watched Bama this year. Right, 5 stars galore everywhere. That we weren't the worst team we've had in the last 5 years because other teams have been worse. We had harder competition this year than we've had in those years. We soundly handled Alabama from our defense, their offense. Our offense did just as much as their offense did, and their offense is littered with 5 stars all over the place. It's not about the stars, man. It's not about the stars. Is that a good indicator of your potential? Sure.
yeah,
Absolutely it is.
for sure.
That
For
doesn't
sure.
determine the drive. That doesn't determine the work ethic. That doesn't determine the fit in system. And those things are far more important than what your raw star rating is. Calvin Ashley was a 5-star rating by all the services. He didn't stay on the field at Florida A&M. Byron Coward was a 5-star top defensive recruit in the whole class. He didn't even he couldn't even get on the field here. And when he went to Maryland, he didn't fare too much better. There's a gap between what potential is and what is actually the case once a guy gets on the field, gets reps, feels into his body, and what he can handle mentally. Mm-hmm. They are challenged, and Harsen seems to be up to that challenge, to finding the guys who are mentally ready to play college ball the way he wants it to be played, who are going to buy into the physical program that we have here, and then to put those guys in the best position to succeed. It doesn't have to be 5s, guys. It doesn't have to be 5s. Do you need some freaks? Sure.
all right.
Somebody's got to be a freak. But you know what? Khalil Mack went to the University of Buffalo. Why didn't we get him? Was he not a 5-star recruit? No, he wasn't. Somebody missed. Somebody missed on the dude, man. And he turns out to be one of the most dominant defensive players in the NFL. It doesn't have to be stars all the time. We just got to
look at our backup. Look at our backup running back. 3-star, diamond in the rough.
He couldn't get an offer at a P5 program as a running back.
Yeah,
We might have the best.
You see how he out there laying it down on the kick returns. He probably would have been a good linebacker too, but the boy's just hard to bring down when he's out there, when he's got to
He's
hit
a
his
baller.
team.
He's
William
a baller.
Pucci says Coach Harsen's name's new best friend Mike Mike Gittens as new OC. If you guys didn't know, Mike
They did have a conversation.
They met after the Iron Bowl.
And
Mike was hanging around, and they did. If you go, this is not us. This isn't a joke. There's a picture up on Mike's Twitter. He did actually meet Brian Harsen recently,
And he's yet to tell us what they talked about. So,
he told me a little bit about what they talked about.
Look at this.
Yeah,
McCreary was a 3-star recruit coming out. He is the highest rated performing cornerback in college, according to Pro Football Focus this year. 3-star recruit. It's not about stars, man.
my man Keontae says former offensive lineman Ryan Stump Pugh is out there for what? I don't know what you're talking about there. If you're talking about as a possible OC hire, then my friend, or as maybe
I'm gonna
as
go
a
with an
replacement for Will
analyst. I'm
Friend.
gonna go with an analyst. I'm gonna go with an analyst. How about that? Let's see.
But I mean, to answer that question though, we do need some physical freaks because we're playing some physical freaks. But there's a lot of room between you're not good at your position and you're 5-star. There are high 4s, low 4s, high 3s that fit the bill. That another great point. Another great point. And we appreciate Papo. We acknowledge that he's talented. Zacoby McClain was the piece that was missing that got us in the most trouble. We saw one half of he's not there, oh yes, he's there, and it made a world of difference, that one dude. And that was not Papo that made that difference on the field this year.
Yeah. They got to close strong. I was pleased by what we heard coming out of the Iron Bowl. A lot of the kids, that was a good game for our recruits to go to, regardless of the outcome. They raved about it, and it looks like we improved our chances with some guys who we didn't.
Probably improved our chances by getting rid of the offensive coordinator that made us look so anemic on offense. They was like, "Hey man, I kind of like it here, but y'all got to get this offense together." He was like, "Oh right, what? Oh, he ain't even gonna be here tomorrow, bro. What you got next?
Wait for it.
Don't worry about it. Yeah."
And he reached back and took the sign off the door. This dude,
You ain't got to worry about that. What you mean?
That's an empty office. It's been empty forever.
Nah, it says no. It means don't go in there. That's all that means. We good, man.
Old
Jazzy
boxes,
Joe,
man. Old boxes.
Joe Moorhead being mentioned. Okay.
I heard him being mentioned for the Oregon OC job.
The Oregon?
After
he is the
Oregon
OC.
No.
He is
It
the
was
Oregon
another
OC.
job. It was Washington, but he didn't get that.
Cole Kubelik, that's funny. Cole
Cole's got
Kubelik's
sweet
friend of the
life,
program.
man. He's traveling,
man.
talking about football. I think he enjoys his job, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the big thing for me. Cadillac has got to be here, man, because these running back recruits love Cadillac.
They love Caddy.
Caddy's not going nowhere, man.
I'm saying that's the OC's decision, though, and that's why I think it's more likely we promote from within than we go get one of these big name guys from somewhere else.
I got to go back and watch this. He rolls his eyes. Oh, hilarious. I got to go back and watch that.
That is definitely interesting. Scorpio and the squad appreciate the super chat there. I don't know if there was supposed to be something attached to that. I'll look and see if there's another chat somewhere relative to it that you meant to throw up in there. But if it's also a few dollars, we appreciate it anyway.
There was
yeah.
so we didn't quite get around to answering because somebody brought it up. I wanted to get to it. So
Okay.
LSU is open.
Mm-hmm.
I saw somebody reporting not open. I'm sorry. Brian Kelly's at LSU, but he's got to fill out his staff.
Mm-hmm.
We know Napier's at Florida. Somebody reported that Venables is actually somewhat confirmed to OU.
OU, right?
Which would be interesting to say the least because that
Then
puts,
who is going to be the new DC hire at Clemson?
and who's going to be the OC at OU? Because they got a lot of guys there, a lot of offensive talent that they need to try to keep the defensive.
Listen. That hire at Clemson is important because that
That's the
defense
reason that
saved
defense,
their season this year. And that defense, low-key, has bailed them out the year before that, too. So that hire is going to be really important.
Be interesting to see if there are any decommitments coming out of Clemson if Venables is out of there. And how much of that defensive staff he takes with him. Is this the end of the Clemson dynasty?
Who does Clemson pluck to try to keep those recruits? Derek Mason did a really good job this year.
Yeah.
A really good job.
You know who I really want to see just get an opportunity to go out and shine somewhere, man?
Who's
Who was that?
What's our guy's name?
T-Rob?
T-Rob. I really just want to see T-Rob get a chance to go somewhere and do his thing.
Yeah.
I really do, man.
Jeremy saying rumor is Jeff Lebby will go to Oklahoma with Brent Venables.
Okay, so they got that filled up.
Boy, it's some
What
movement
is with
going
guys
on.
getting paid more than Nick Saban? What has Brian Kelly won?
You gotta pay people big money to.
What
make
has Lincoln
them want-
Riley won? All right, man. Okay.
SS Austin with the super chat here said, I think these next few weeks of recruiting are about to be crazy. We are probably going to see get some flips. I trust Harsen. He's building a monster. Listen, again, any rumors to the contrary, Brian Harsen ain't going nowhere. They're going to have to fire this man.
Yeah.
He fundamentally believes he can come and build a championship program at Auburn University, and that's why he's here, and he's committed to doing that. He in his mind, whatever he got cooking up is going to take Auburn to the top.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to seeing what his grand scheme is. My guy Dane, friend of mine, became a member here at the War Report. Appreciate you, bro.
Welcome.
Welcome.
That ain't happening. Just
You think they want to relive that?
that's not happening. That's
hilarious,
never
man. That's
happening.
hilarious.
They told him to never come back after that West Virginia game. Okay.
I mean, they didn't retain him at Tennessee.
Would
I
he
mean,
go to
listen,
LSU or
after
Florida?
you stab dude in the back,
Florida.
stab the head coach in the back, ain't nobody gonna bring you on, dude. I don't think he gets another DC job at a Power 5 program, man. He's going to have to go down to a group of 5.
They're going
get a
to
DC job.
hire him at Troy to go in there and be the DC with
Didn't what's his name? Just got a job. Rich Rod just took a job.
Where? I heard that. Where?
School. I can't remember now. Who was it? Was it Akron? It might have been Akron.
Todd Grantham's out there as a DC. Somebody may snatch him up.
my guy Dane says Mike Sanford from Minnesota to Auburn as the OC.
I'm not familiar with what he does. I know their offense was a little bland, but they also had some major injuries too. So,
would Cliff Kingsbury come back to college? That was the name that was on everybody's lips for the Oklahoma. I mean, for him coming back to coach Oklahoma. I don't see any reason why he leaves Arizona. Arizona's 9-2 right now. He's got his guy in Kyler Murray as the quarterback. Why would he come back to college? I don't know.
Fickle goes right into his office at Cincinnati and continues to do what he's doing. They're going to the Big 12.
Yeah, okay. I don't think Luke Fickle leaves.
Here's the thing
like
about
after that, I think that was their way of keeping Luke Fickle, trying to get them in to go to the Big 12. So I think that was a smart move on Cincy's part, because if not, he would have been in the running for some of these jobs.
I think he will be in the running for the Notre Dame job. I
Luke
think
Fickle?
he fits the bill. Yeah, him and Campbell are kind of a very similar field, down-to-earth guys, straight-laced guys that I think would both fit well for Notre Dame. They've had kind of like who's the head of the, not the Jedi.
That's a good point. I didn't think
who's
about
like the
him
head of the Sith. What's his name? That's who Brian Kelly is. He's like a Sith Lord, and he was at Notre Dame, and I don't think they wanted that image. He could do some good things offensively in football, but I don't think they wanted that. I think either Campbell or Fickle make a lot of sense for Notre Dame. I don't know which one of them get it, but I think they make sense.
That's a good question, Jeremy. I don't know how Rich Rod keeps getting jobs, but I really wish he had gotten that Bama job and done us a favor years ago. But water under a bridge.
Give Dale McGee, Jamal Cunningham says from Georgia, the OC job for recruiting purposes and Harsen be the primary play caller. Like I said before, I just don't think Brian Harsen wants to call plays. I think he wants to hire an offensive play caller to do that, and so he can run the program in other ways. I think it's a good thing for recruiting purposes. But the question is, I don't know what Dale McGee wants to do. Like, does he want to be an offensive coordinator? Does he, or is he fine being, running backs coach? I don't know. Harsen is now recruiting against bigger names: Saban, Kiffin, Jimbo, Kirby, Kelly, and Leach. His OC hire has to be a home run, Michael Parker says. I agree. This has to be. Listen, this job at Auburn gets harder every year, it seems. Like,
the West was already tough.
Right. You already had Leach coming into town, right? You've already got Lane Kiffin here. Then the LSU job, you at least had somebody who you could at least kind of win some battles against. Now you go and get Brian Kelly down here. It's just getting harder and harder and harder every year. Texas and Oklahoma come to the league in a couple of years. Two big names, two big brands come into town. Texas A&M ain't going nowhere no time soon. Nick Saban's not going anywhere anytime soon. Kirby Smart's here. Napier has, got some head of steam with him. He's going to be at Florida.
Tennessee
with
look like
Heupel.
they on the yeah.
Right. South Carolina's got a lot of energy behind that program now.
Arkansas.
Arkansas's program is looking a lot better. Like, the SEC is not getting any easier. He's coming in at the toughest time you could possibly come in to start this program from scratch, essentially. You are 100% correct. He's got to get this right. We can't have a carousel at the coordinator positions here. You need to have some stability for a couple of years, and it's got to be somebody who can light up the scoreboard a little bit.
Yeah. Let's see. Do we ever officially do this?
No, I don't think we did. We didn't. I think you missed that one. Well, we mentioned we threw out some names. We threw out some names.
Rich Rod to Jacksonville State.
Jack State. That's right. Jack State. Okay. That's what he's at.
All right. We said we did the usual suspects.
So here's the thing. I don't want to buck against this too much. I do want to save this possibly for Wednesday or next Sunday, though, because I think that there's a lot of fallout. I mean, we can do a couple of predictions right now, but I think we'll have some more concrete stuff. I want to see who leaves first. And when you say transfer predictions, are we saying like people who we think we're going to leave?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's
okay. We can go ahead and do that.
Who's leaving the program?
Well, okay. So now that Bobo is gone, right? It's going to come down to who was deciding to keep Elijah Kenyon off the field. Who was making that decision? Was that the wide receivers coach? Was it the OC? Or was it Harsen? Without knowing that, it's hard to say whether or not Bobo leaving makes a difference, because there may be some guys who say, well, you know what? Robertson's gone.
It does.
Well, no, we already got some guys. We're not really going to get any thinner at wide receiver, so.
I mean, we've got a lot of potentials there.
I'm
I
gonna
think
go with
both
JJ.
Kenyon and Capers.
I think they're going. I think JJ Evans may transfer.
JJ Evans likely is gone as well.
Yeah, I think all three of them are the likeliest ones. Yeah.
Outside of that, I can't really think of anybody who I can definitively say. Again, I think one of the three quarterbacks, if not two, are going to be gone. The only one that I can see staying is Demetrius Davis. He's the only one that I think is committed to being here. But if Bo Nix comes back, TJ Finley is definitely gone. If Bo Nix decides to transfer, TJ, I think it's a toss-up. I think it depends kind of on what happens in this bowl game.
Well, no, that depends on who the coaches play in the bowl game, because they could not even give Dede a chance and just roll.
That's why I said it depends on what happens, right? Like
Well,
if
yeah, I
Dede
get you saying.
actually plays and he lights it up, then he might be like,
Then Finley maybe.
yeah, Finley like, look, man, I'm not finna sit here and play behind. Like, this kid's got 4 years of eligibility. I'm out.
Right. Right.
Jeremy Redding says JJ Evans does not exist. I'm convinced.
They
I
would
saw
have
him
you-
on the sideline during the Bama game. He was out there, or at least there was someone with the last name Evans on the sidelines. I don't know if that was him, but he definitely only exists in his his high school tape.
Oh, that's a good point, Auburn Dad. Oh, wait, let me grab it.
Treshaun Miller can't leave. He had to
just
sit out
used
again.
his one
And I mean,
time instant
that would be the
pass.
same thing for TJ as well, though, right? Like TJ
Right.
has more
Oh, right.
eligibility,
Shoot.
right? So like he can afford to do that and still get 2 years to play somewhere else. I don't think Miller can go somewhere else.
Right.
So
No, I don't think so.
yeah, the only ones that, like I said, I don't see a world where we retain all three.
Do we
of those
lose anybody
quarterbacks.
along the D line?
No,
I don't see why.
Honestly, I would expect Wooden to go because it's crowded.
Go pro.
Yeah, I expect Wooden to go pro. He had a great year, and we showed really well in the last game. I think he puts another game of tape out there in the bowl game, and then Wooden goes. We've got plenty of guys. Lee Hunter didn't see the field. What's the guy we got from Tennessee after they had to shut
Dylan
it down?
Brooks.
Brooks didn't see the field. We've got dudes ready to step in, and we still got Caden Story already committed. We're pushing for Curtis Perry.
Curtis Perry, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Wooden leaves, and then we don't. Gabe, who he got hurt in spring.
Jeremy Wright.
Jeremy Wright.
Excuse me.
Jeremiah Wright.
Jeremiah Wright. Thank you. I'm sorry about that, Jeremiah. Hopefully you do watch this. Hopefully all y'all watch this, man. We love y'all. Love talking about y'all. But he was the one person who was flashing the most.
This is tragic, man. There are 700 people in here that have been cycling in and out. We only got 9 likes on this video, man. Y'all hit that like button real quick.
What
Do I have to remind y'all
you
about
do?
that every video, man? Come on.
Yeah,
y'all.
we do. We do.
Yeah, it's y'all are involved in the conversation. I get it. Before you get out of here, before you decide you're done watching us ramble, go hit that like button. We've been on here for like over an hour and a half. We're probably gonna get out of here soon. But Jeremiah Wright coming back from injury. Dylan Brooks still gonna be here. Does Echo Leota still have another year of eligibility with the
he does.
COVID
He's
year?
a sophomore.
So we
sophomore.
lose TD more than likely,
Yeah, TD Moultrie's
Oh yeah,
probably
TD's
gone.
gone. TD's
and
gone.
I think we probably lose Wooden. But we've got 3 or 4 guys automatically.
Yeah,
that
Marcus
didn't play
Harris
against us right
still
now.
got plenty
Marcus
of
Harris.
eligibility. Lee Hunter is a true freshman, didn't play, so he's going to be a redshirt coming back. Dylan Brooks,
Red shirt. Got a couple snaps, but
yeah, Jeremiah Wright's going to be coming back. JJ Pegues is still going to be here.
Oh,
Echo
yeah, he's
Leota's still
coming.
going to
Yeah.
be here.
Yeah, oof, that D line's gonna be kind of nasty.
Yeah, Curtis Perry, maybe, if we can get all things right. Who was the other guy that you just
goodness.
mentioned? Caden Story. Yeah, we've got a lot of guys that can still cycle through there. Somebody says they see 226. Yeah, you have to refresh, I guess, if you only saw 9 on there. I didn't go check. Zacchaeus Walker still going to be out there. Gosh, who are other guys that got burned along that line this year? There's a lot. So our defensive
lot.
line, I don't think that any of those guys leave because I think that we play enough rotational players that they're going to continue to see some burn. It's the offensive line that I don't necessarily think anybody leaves, but that I'm more worried about us filling in people to make it solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, the offensive line, I think we talked about this for a minute before, but Brahms was quoted as saying
Romello Height's still there. I forgot about him.
Too. That a couple of the guys on the offensive line that were seniors were considering using their COVID year.
Yeah, Derek Hall was one of them that was thrown out there that he may come back.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
He could go. Hall could go. And I wouldn't
Hall
be mad at
could
him.
go. Depending on what kind of grade he gets back.
Hey, Jazzy Joe, man.
Hold on.
Let
me get
that
this
was for you. That was for you, Ike.
Did y'all want Bo to stay or transfer? I think it makes sense for him to stay. I don't have a want when it comes to that. I just don't know that it makes sense for him to leave.
Yeah. He needs to stay.
Yeah, I think it makes a ton of sense for Bo Nix to come back and finish out strong. Again, I'll say this again. Bo Nix was getting better as the season progressed. It's just going to take the right offensive coordinator and right system to utilize all the talents that he has. But we've got to get some other guys around him, specifically offensive line, to make sure that we have the right success. Jazzy Joe, I don't even really want to read this out loud, but I will because you gave the super chat. Heard Big Cat is coming back.
So that's why you did
that. I'm not going to even. I'm not. Yeah, I'm just not. He gone.
He come back to get the rest of his things.
If he still has anything here, then I don't know why he left it. Cause get him out of here.
Yeah, linebackers is gonna be an issue next year. We're losing the best one we've had in a minute, and there is a guy who just.
I'm curious to see what Papo does. I'm keeping an eye on Papo.
Papo's got to come back. Like, I just don't know that he's put enough on tape to make an NFL team salivate. Like, I think he could be drafted or picked up on as an undrafted free agent somewhere. I just don't know that he put enough on tape to have a high draft stock. So I think he should come back, whether he will or not. You know, it's the same question that I have about Owen Papo is the same one I have about Bo Nix. They're essentially the same player on either side of the ball. Yeah. Where the ceiling is tremendous for both of them. They showed flashes of good things, and then they showed some stuff that needs some work, right? And then both of them have injuries that NFL teams are going to question as to whether or not are you the same player that we saw on tape, right? Because a lot of what you were really good at had to do with your athleticism. So I have to know post this injury that the athleticism didn't take a decline, and we're going to lose some of the things that we really liked about your intangibles that you would bring to our football team. So they've got to put some new tape out there, whether that is Combine or Senior Bowl, you know, something that shows, which I don't think Papo got an invite to the Senior Bowl, so I don't think that's even an option for him. You know, maybe he comes back for the bowl game and he shows I still got the burst or whatever. You know, like he's got to put something else out there on tape that lets people know I didn't lose my athleticism. Yeah. Julia does he will need a donation from the Nix family for a line of televisions if that happens. So yeah, I don't like people keep saying they think Demetrius Davis is leaving. He said I signed to the university, not the coaches. Right. Like I think signs over and over have pointed to Demetrius Davis saying to himself, he knew even if we did not bring on Brian Harsen, he knew he wasn't going to play this year. Him not playing this year was a given because he knew Bo Nix was the entrenched starter. So I don't think I think seeing Bo Nix get hurt and then him not getting an opportunity even after that hurt his feelings a little bit. But I don't think that pushed him out of the door. Right now, he thinks he is a supremely confident kid who thinks he's got as good a shot as anybody else in America to be the starting quarterback for Auburn University next year. And with a new offensive coordinator coming in, he's on level playing field with everybody because he's like, everybody got to learn a new playbook. It ain't just me, right? Now, he would have probably had a little bit more of a leg up if we had kept offensive coordinators, but he at least will know some of the staff still, right? So he'll be he'll be here, and I think he's in the mix. Chris K, appreciate the super chat. My bad, flipped the wrong one. Just going to go dream and wish for Deion Sanders for offensive coordinator.
He was a defensive player.
Oh, you're right. I apologize, Lawrence. Papo is a junior. I keep thinking senior, but he and Bo came in at the same time, so he's a junior. So he wouldn't even be that position. So yeah, he's got to come back for another year. Like there's no reason for him not to. Landon King reposted D. Davis's story, so it looks like he's not transferring either. I'm thinking it's Evans, Canyons, and Shivers. You think Shivers going to take a COVID year and go somewhere else?
I think he would go to the pros.
If Shivers plays football next year, I have to imagine he's going to do it for Auburn. He's another one of those guys I just can't imagine not being in an Auburn uniform. So
but I would have told you the same thing about Bo Nix a month ago too. So.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but, listen, I think fundamentally if Sean Shivers is just playing football again,
I'm not sure if he comes back, though.
Yeah.
I
think Demetrius Davis is still going to be here. Landon King, I never had any thoughts of him transferring.
Do we lose any tight ends?
Shanker.
Frazier
is gonna graduate.
Of course, Shanker is going, but I'm saying, do we lose Frazier? We didn't see Frazier.
We did.
It's a good question. Does Brandon Frazier go somewhere else? So you've got Landon King, you've got Luke Deal,
you've got Fromm,
you've got Tyler Fromm, and then you've got Frazier. I mean, 4 tight ends that's not a crowded room anymore. Now that JJ Pegues isn't in the mix.
Well, we've got Micah Riley Ducker.
Yeah,
if he stays,
right? That's true.
Okay. I'm not gonna count him, but that is someone coming into that room potentially. Yeah, we just never heard from Frazier at all. Did he even get on the field this year?
A couple of times.
Twice. Yeah, he got on a little bit.
Interesting.
People saying Schenker may come back.
Okay. I mean, listen, he might, but listen, he's a 2-sport guy, right? So I think it kind of depends on what happens with his baseball career as well.
Yeah.
Oh, so Spicy just said, he isn't playing baseball next year and focusing on football, so he may come back. I think he's a better prospect at tight end / fullback than he is for baseball anyway. So,
but the question is, depending on who they bring in, how much different is it going to be from Bobo's system?
Julia is hilarious. Oh my God, I love you, Julia, so much.
Oh boy, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. I'm curious to see so let's say how soon do you think it'll be before they announce the new OC?
I think by the end of the week.
Yeah, by the end of the week.
Because they've got to get back to recruiting all the offensive prospects before early signing. So it's got to be soon.
So SS Austin says he heard Shivers is going to transfer. I mean, look at the running back. They are still trying to get Citizen,
yeah.
And he's
Javonte
already
Citizen,
getting
he
no
decommitted
reps.
from LSU.
He did decommit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Listen, I mean, I don't disagree that the reps are probably not going to be there for Sean Shivers if he decides to come back. I just don't know that, if he does, I wish him the best of luck wherever he decides to go. I just can't see it happening, but, it's going to be interesting. I think this is typed in the in the mode of what do we see.
I have no idea.
If you are new to the war, listen. If you are just jumping in and you're wondering why you cannot chat, let's go ahead and get this out of the way before we leave up out of here. We are in members only mode. Listen, we want the people who are giving us money to have priority in the chat. There's 745 people logged into this live right now. There would just be way too many chats for us to have everybody. So you either have to super chat or you have to join to be able to chat when we go live like this. Either supporter or insider level. Insider level, we have some additional things that we pop out there for you. So if you guys want to join, we do have all-season content. Listen, man, this is not limited to when football season is going on. We will have basketball content. We will have off-season football content. War Rapport ain't going nowhere just because the football season ended, man. So if you want to jump on board, the opportunity is there for you. And it's not in a yearly commitment or anything like that. It's a month-by-month situation. So that's who we have here in the chat as our members, and they know how we get down, man.
For sure. sure.
Did we see Paul Feinbaum go off on Brian Harsin? I
No.
don't know that I pay attention to what Feinbaum says
Yeah,
or
I
does.
don't watch Paul Feinbaum.
So I'm going to have to
sorry.
go with no. I don't know that even after you said that I'm going to go figure out what Feinbaum said because I don't actually care. But,
Yeah.
you know, hey, listen, Paul Feinbaum's a guy with a microphone, with an opinion. He's entitled to.
I love it when people spell his name like this. I love it. It's great. Thanks, Lawrence.
Kyle says, do you mean Paul Feinbaum?
That one too. That one as well.
That
one as
guy.
Well, all
He's
right.
the Jerry Springer of the SEC. Any final thoughts before we get out of here, though? Jeremy Eccles asks, B. Will, this is you, right?
What's he asking?
Who is the point man for baseball?
I cannot with good conscience take up reporting or trying to cover baseball because I only played it and I only played it very early into my teens. Didn't even play it in high school. I love the sport, but I have not been in it long enough. We got to find some time. We got to get off these jobs for real. I mean, we're going to cover some basketball, but listen, man, that's going to be it. Like, we got to get War Rapport full time, fellas, because we stretched. So, you know, we'll take up more as we get more time, but no, it's not going to be baseball this year.
Yeah. Yeah, we got our hands full with just basketball and this off-season news with football because this is again, I'm going to be interested to see what spring looks like yet again with how this offense looks. So it's going to be fun, man.
Definitely going to be interesting indeed. All right, man, we're about to get out of here. Even though you guys are still commenting strong, my wife has already hit me up wondering when I'm going to get off of this live.
Mine too.
So Stuart, I'll let you get last word here in the chat. Would love to see y'all put together end of the year special predictions versus results. I.e. 5 shutouts. That would be interesting for sure. We are going to do an end of the year wrap up show. Not sure exactly how that's going to be formatted, but stay tuned. We have some more stuff coming up for you guys. But anyway, we are out of here, man. As always, we love y'all, man. Appreciate y'all so much. Until the next time, War Eagle, and we will holler at y'all on the flip side. Peace.